Glass Onion, Ryan. After the success of Knives Out, audiences were clamoring for a sequel. In 2020, it was confirmed that writer-director Rian Johnson would return, and he was working on a story with the star Daniel Craig, set to reprise his role. In March 2021, Netflix bought the rights to 2 sequels to Knives Out for $469 million, and here we are. This new Knives Out mystery, entitled Glass Onion, sports an all-star cast once again, and a murder most foul. Can Craig's Benoit Blanc crack the case, or is this an onion that will only make you cry? We grabbed our magnifying glasses and headed to Greece to find out. Glass Onion begins with an invitation. A mysterious box arrives on the doorstep of seemingly unconnected characters. A scientist, a governor, a socialite, and a meathead are all suddenly on a conference call trying to solve the puzzle of the mysterious box. But what do these characters have in common? They are all friends with Miles Braun, the tech billionaire played by Edward Norton, who has sent them this invitation by way of this mystery box to his private island in Greece to play a murder mystery game. The only catch? 2 other guests arrive. One is the world's greatest detective, Benoit Blanc, who's been searching for his next big case. And the other is the mysterious and angry Cassandra Brand, played by Janelle Monáe, the ex-partner of Miles. The scientist, here comes the cast, everybody. The scientist, Lionel, played by Leslie Odom Jr., the governor, Claire, played by Catherine Hahn, the socialite, Bertie, played by Kate Hudson, and the meathead, Duke, played by Dave Bautista, and Cassandra Brand all have motives when an actual murder takes place on the island, and the game is afoot. That's a lot of setup and a lot of cast, but boy, does it work. This ensemble is terrific, and the supporting cast around them only adds more flavor to this delectable dish. Several unexpected and amazing cameos, including the final appearance, sadly, of both Stephen Sondheim and Angela Lansbury playing Among Us, will keep you on your toes throughout. Like the first Knives Out mystery, this isn't a whodunit in the sense that the audience must suss this out themselves, but more of a clever game that pivots about halfway through the runtime at what I like to call the twist, but what Rye the Movie Guy would surely call the reveal. It is at this point that we get some interesting backstory on the characters, including Cassandra Brand and Benoit Blanc, that shed new light on everything that has just happened so far. This film will be a 2-watch minimum, just to go back to see all the little clues that Johnson left for us to follow like breadcrumbs. It's all in plain sight, as Blanc points out. Like the Glass Onion itself, the plot is transparent enough if only you know what to look for. To sum it up, Rian Johnson has done it again. Glass Onion is sure to be a hit for Netflix, and I encourage everyone to get out to see it in the theater if you can, because it's worth every penny. This might just be the most fun I've had at the movie theater all year.
Good to hear, Matt. I mean, this is a rare sequel that's just as good as the first film, and that's saying a lot because I loved the first Knives Out. Once again, I would say Rian Johnson did a great job, and you're telling me that I would call that a reveal? No, Matt. That actually was a twist.
Oh, come on. What's the difference? How is that a twist?
Before. There are differences between a twist and a reveal. This was a twist. This was definitely a twist. Let me say this though. Rian Johnson's twist again is it's actually quite good because you're right. It's not necessarily a straight up whodunit. By throwing in this twist, it's sort of like, oh, how did this actually come together, right? It's like, how now let's see how the pieces all fit in there. Now that we see, exactly what took place.
It's non-linear.
Very much in a way, the way the first Knives Out was. It wasn't necessarily exactly a whodunit in straight form. We understood that the first guy died, Christopher Plummer. So it was exactly like, how did that exactly happen? And he does it again here, but in a different way, but just as good, just as effective. So hats off to Rian Johnson and his script. I mean, really well done. The only issue I had, and this is where I want to, I guess, start the discussion, that I would have a somewhat of a downer look on it, was
interesting.
The motley crew that you mentioned, and you named all the names and their professions, to me seemed still a little hard to believe that they all would have worked together even though they do explain it in the movie, but for me, that was very thin. And I kept thinking to myself, as good and as much as I like these characters, I found it hard to believe that they actually would have been a group,
A clique.
and a clique, and working at that bar. For me, that seemed very thin. How about you?
No, if that's the biggest thing you have to complain about, you need Professor Plum and Mrs. White and Mrs. Peacock, and you need the characters to be different and very different at that in order for the mystery to be more mysterious. If they all were the same and had a similar motivation and similar objectives and even just backgrounds, I don't think it would be nearly as interesting. Is it a little thin how they connect them all? No, I think my suspension of disbelief that worked for me. That worked for me completely.
So for the cast, the two standouts for me, I loved Edward Norton. I thought was fantastic, and Kate Hudson. Great to see her in this role. I thought it was fantastic casting to have Kate Hudson in there.
Oh, I agree. I mean, yes, I mentioned the Angela Lansbury cameo. I think that was a high point for me in terms of the cast, but the takeaway performance is Cassandra Brand, played by Janelle Monáe. I think she really stole the show quite a bit, and she had some extra lifting to do, and I'll leave that there, dancing around spoilers.
When the movie started, were you a little suspicious that they were going to a murder mystery party?
No, what do you mean?
Like the idea of like, okay, we got this great, Benoit Blanc.
Are you asking, did I think a real murder would take place? I mean,
well, yeah. Well, did you think that like it was a little bit too easy of a plot? I thought for the first like 15, 20 minutes into the movie, I thought, this is a little cheesy. It opened up beautifully. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying,
I think
the
that's
first setup, I thought like, boy, this isn't going to work. And then to my surprise, it worked flawlessly.
so what you're saying is it's kind of like an onion. At first, you just see the outside and it seems really simple and banal, but once you split it open, you realize that there's massive complexity within.
This
right?
is true. Yes.
Yeah. I did feel that, Ryan. I thought at the outset, like, yeah, this is a really convenient setup. They're going to solve a murder mystery game. But, I think that's part of the genius of what Johnson has done here with the script.
This one definitely is a little sillier than the first one. I think the first one also is played for some good laughs, but this one, I don't know how your screening was. I saw this in Toronto, and it was like laugh out loud funny, much funnier and sillier to a degree, at least the characters I'm talking about in this one than the first one. That's my only fear, is that if these keep going on, I don't want a straight up comedy. I don't want it to keep leaning so heavy into the comedy, because I really like solving and seeing how you put the pieces together in there. He's got something good here. Don't go too silly.
That's an interesting take. I'll have to rewatch the first one. It didn't feel off balance to me, but I have not seen the first Knives Out since the year it came out. So I agree with you, though. They do need to watch that balance. I didn't find it to be too silly. Like every serious beat was taken seriously. It's just that these characters had some humor in them. I don't know. It was okay, but I agree with you.
Jaw-dropping moment for you, Matt. I got mine. Are you ready?
Yeah, go.
I love, obviously, they're going to this murder mystery party. And at one point, they're talking about the fact that it is this murder mystery. And
Benoit
Blanc solves the damn thing. Like he talks about how it would have all worked, the actual murder inside the party within seconds. That entire scene, that was damn funny. I enjoyed the hell out of it.
I would say the jaw-dropping moment for me was the twist. Once that card is played, you're like, wow. Like the whole movie kind of like pivots. And I think that was incredibly well done.
Yeah, I have not seen it a second time, but that was a good point that you made, because I'd like to go back and watch everything that happened before the twist is revealed, to see all the interactions of the characters that we weren't privy to beforehand. You know what I mean?
Right. When the twist is what, Rye?
Revealed.
Oh, so it's a reveal then.
Movie poster quote I went for: all the clues lead to another great mystery film.
Mine is peel back the layers of the glass onion and you'll find an amazing mystery.
I went 3.5 Jaws on the second Knives Out film. How about you, Matt?
I thought about this for a long time and couldn't find any flaws. I'm giving it 4 Jaws.
Wow, 4 Jaws for Matt K. Good to hear. Jawheads, 4 Jaws for Matt K. 3.5 Jaws for Rye, the movie guy. Glass Onion is going to play in theaters for a week. I did not write down, silly me, the date it hits Netflix. Throw it in the fish tank, Phil. Usually I have that in my notes and I do not, but it's very, very soon. So definitely check it out there. And when you do, shoot us a tweet. We're at CinemaJaw, or an email, feedback@cinemajaw.com. Let us know what you think of the movie and our review.